in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? Welcome to episode 854 now of The Ron and Don Show. He's Ron and Don, and we're back live in the Les Schwab studio.
What is up, Ron and Don Nation?
Hey, coming up on The Ron and Don Show, let's talk about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. And how did he really meet her? Because I want to meet someone like that. And anyway, everyone's giving him a really hard time right now, but I have to say, everyone's talking about her and his new book. Are they talking about his new book?
No, they're talking about how awkward the interview was on CBS Sunday morning.
I love awkward. It's my favorite thing. Anyway, we're going to talk about Bill Belichick. His new book is out. And also, he was almost on a television show until his new 24-year-old girlfriend stepped in and said, "You're not going to be on that television show," which is too bad because I would love to see him on that show. Also coming up, Steven Spielberg was asked the greatest American movie of all time. He answers, and boy, is this not the greatest American movie of all time. Ron's going to tell you the second greatest American movie of all time, and then I'm going to tell you the number one greatest American movie of all time.
I think I know exactly the trivia. I already know. I don't have to guess.
I'm going to do one of the lines.
I know exactly right now.
I'll say the line.
What you think is your favorite movie.
Let's see if you know the response.
You don't even have to say it. I know what your favorite movie is.
You go.
I know what.
What does he say?
No, I'm not.
What does he say?
No. This is not the greatest American movie.
You go, we go. You go, we go. Anyway, we'll get to that move. Before we get to that, though, let's get to this because there's a lot of things that have happened on this podcast. You do, Bob and Alice, your parents still listen. And there's something called BuzzFeed that I know your dad loves BuzzFeed. I love going out to BuzzFeed because BuzzFeed, every once in a while, they'll say, "Hey, let's throw a topic around," and then everyone chimes in. And so
that's how we steal it from Reddit.
The topic that we're throwing around are the things. Let me get it right here because I think it's really good. People are sharing on BuzzFeed the habits they adopted from their parents that actually make their lives so much better, and they didn't realize this back in the day. Here's one that I do that I find the next day my life is a lot better. And I'm trying to get my son to do it right now. And we're kind of halfway there. This BuzzFeed writer says, "Hey, every night I prepare everything I need for the next day. I choose my outfit, my accessories. I pack my snacks, my vitamins. I fill my water bottle. No more flapping around in the morning." They must be from Europe, right?
I think
who flap? Hey, Matt, who flaps around? Do you know? Birds flap. Matt Weston is here helping produce the show today, which we're very appreciative of. Also, I like this.
Hold on.
I like this.
Sir, do you lay these clothes out?
What's that?
Like you take out your underwear and your socks and a shirt and like put them on the chair?
I take.
You only have like a couple of outfits.
I take
You either wear shorts and a hoodie or you wear jeans and a hoodie.
I ride my Peloton bike at night. And then I take all my clothes that I wore the day before and I change the shirt. I usually wear the same pants, change out the shoes, new socks, and I throw that on top of the Peloton bike. So when I get up in the morning, I either ride the bike and then throw the clothes on, or at some point during the day, I got to ride the bike. But that's also the Peloton bike. That's where you lay out all your clothes and accessories.
All right, fair enough.
And some people just lay their clothes and accessories out on the Peloton bike. And I don't know if you know anything about this, but they never ride the Peloton.
I don't have a Peloton bike. So
anyway, I think a lot of people out there using their Peloton bike that they got during COVID to air out their clothes. Also, kids will be kids. This BuzzFeed member said they'll do goofy things. They'll get dirty. They'll accidentally break stuff. But my parents taught me that that's life. And let them go ahead and get dirty and be goofy and break things once in a while. Just don't let them be mean, unkind. That's when you come down on them. And then finally this, writing out weekly menus before going to the grocery store. I love seeing that was for dinner as a kid. Some meals were exciting, others less exciting. Helped me save a lot of money. You guys used to have themed meals at the Upshaw residence,
I
right?
don't know if it was themed as much as it was a calendar of meals. a limited menu of meals.
Yeah.
And so looking back now, like my mom worked at a hospital, so she put in long days. And so on this list, I was thinking one of the things that she did, it just came to me while you were talking about this, that I wish I was a little bit better at. So she works at this hospital. It was obviously, it had to be stressful. Like there's, people literally living and dying every single day around her in the work. And she was a lab technician, but there would be emergencies and stuff that would happen all the time. And so when she came home, she never dumped that stress onto us. And so, and she has this phrase that she would use. And as a kid, I didn't get it. But so she had to shift gear from being in a hospital, dealing with emergency situations, people living and dying. Then she drives home, and when she comes in, then she's got kids in the house. And so she would say, give me 15 minutes to rest my eyes. So she would go in her room, she would shut the door, and she would just lay on her bed and rest her eyes for 15 minutes.
Power nap.
I don't even know if she slept as much as she shifted gears.
Turn the switch
From hospital mode to mom mode.
That's good.
And I, as a kid, I'm like, what do you mean, rest your eyes? Like, that's not a thing. But she would not come home and go, oh my God, this person had a heart attack today and we had to rush around and go into the emergency room and I'm drawing blood. And she wouldn't lay that stuff on us when she got home. She would come home, rest her eyes, and then she would go out and come back out and engage with the family and then make dinner or whatever. But the meals, so that's a habit that I wish I was better on, because there are times when, if my girlfriend asks me, how was your day? I'll go, oh my God, let me dump all this stress that I had onto you. And I need to do better at resting my eyes metaphorically.
Yeah.
And then the meal thing was, we just had a regimen because she worked at a hospital and because it was a stressful thing. We sort of had a relatively set menu. Like we would do tostadas, we would do a pizza, pasta, spaghetti, and meatball night. We would do fish sticks one night. So we sort of had a maybe 5 to 10 meals that would rotate, and then you'd have the leftovers and all that stuff. So there wasn't a tremendous amount of variety, but I think for my mom working and also raising these kids, it was probably relatively easy to go to the store. You know what to buy, you know what you're going to make. There wasn't a lot of time to be like, I'm going to do a 3-hour menu tonight or a custom dish off of Bon Appetit. It was like, hey man, throw some taco seasoning and hamburger into the pan. It's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know if Taco Tuesday was official yet back then, but one of the days might have been Taco Wednesday or Taco Thursday, but one of the days was Taco Day.
I like what Admiral McCraven said in that famous speech he gave. I forget to the graduating class. I think it was at the University of Texas. And he talked about the importance of getting up and just making your bed every day. And even if you don't get anything else accomplished, you'll come home to a beautiful, neat bed. And I had shared that with my son, that college speech at the University of Texas a couple of years ago. And ever since then, like, his bed looks amazing in the morning.
I kind of say I've always been suspect of that. I don't think making your bed's a big deal.
You don't think so?
I don't. I get that it's a metaphor for being squared away in the rest of your life, but I already know that I'm squared away in my life in most areas. And so I like looking in my bedroom and knowing that I can just lay right down and pull the cover back over.
Hey, you guys, more in a minute on the Ron and Don Show. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Don't forget, we sell the sound. When you need us, just reach out. RonDon.com, which we're already doing right now. Bill Belichick, I have to say I love him. My son and I love him. Ron, I think you love him too. And I just love, like back in the day when they would ask him very uncomfortable questions. And it is pretty uncomfortable if you have one of your star players go out and commit murder,
right?
Like Aaron Hernandez did, and then they would ask Bill about that, and he would say, "You know what?
On to Cleveland.
We're on to Cleveland each and every week." So he ends up leaving New England.
Well, I think he was forced out of it.
I don't have time to recap, but he ends up leaving New England. Then he's trying to get back in the NFL. everybody thinks he's going to get back in the NFL. There's like 8 jobs for him. And come to find out, they wanted to hire him about as much as the NFL wanted to hire Shedeur Sanders. There was something very, I think sometimes when you look at that and you look at the player or the coach, you're like, hey, we're interested in you, but if we hire Shedeur, the circus, his dad, all this stuff, it's all going to come to town. He's going to be the backup quarterback, and then we're going to be sitting here with the circus following the backup. We're going to have the Tim Tebow situation all over again, and we don't want that. And I think that was happening within the NFL too. I think a lot of owners are saying, hey, you're not a collaborator. You're not coming here to collaborate. You're coming here to run the show. And I think Bill Belichick looked around and he said, you know what? Then I guess I'm going to college, which is exactly what he did. So now Bill is at school in North Carolina, and we're hearing stories that he met this beautiful young lady supposedly on an airplane. And now I'm hearing other stories about the way that maybe they met, but it sounds like
the takeaway is that he's 76.
I think he's 76, yeah.
76 and
74, 76.
He's in his mid-70s.
Mid-70s, yeah.
And she is 24.
Yep.
And so they are dating.
Yep.
And he is at the North Carolina. And so HBO has been having a hard time finding a team that wants to submit to Hard Knocks. Mm-hmm. So Hard Knocks, if you're not a sports fan, is a all-access documentary to the preseason of an NFL team. They put robotic cameras in all the meeting rooms, in the offices, and then they have unfettered access to practice. And so they go through. It's an interesting show for the fans.
I love it. Yeah.
But for the team, it's a lot. It's a big ask. And the New York Jets did it with Aaron Rodgers, and it was, he's the greatest thing ever. And then promptly,
it was the greatest thing until the season started.
Oh my gosh. And so the rest of the league was like, no thanks. Like, last thing we need is the distraction of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
So Hard Knocks then went to North Carolina, and they're like, hey, how's about we do Bill Belichick becoming a college coach? And imagine, if you will, they say that he's going on recruiting trips. So he'll go to Texas and meet with a family in their living room, and Bill Belichick walks into a 18-year-old's house.
Yeah, the school's at Chapel Hill, and they're calling him Chapel Bill.
And so the way this story comes down, so it was all set. They're going to do Hard Knocks, North Carolina. Yeah. Bill Belichick goes to college, and it was all set. They had to pay the university, I think, $50,000 to $100,000 for the offset of their expenses. The salaries were worked out. The cameras were going to be installed. The contracts were sent out. Everybody's on board. And then Bill's girlfriend, the 24-year-old, jumps in and says, hey, I think she said she wanted an executive producer credit and that she ran Bill's production company. And so
Chapel Bill, yeah.
They went out and they started looking for this production company, and it doesn't seem to exist.
And she wants to be CC'd on all his emails now.
She wants to be in there. And the HBO people are like, you're not in television. Nobody knows you. You don't run a production company. Like, we're not including you because you happen to be dating Bill. Like, that's not a thing. And so the entire deal fell apart.
Yeah.
And Bill just let it fall apart. And he brings this 24-year-old girlfriend everywhere. There's a famous thing right now. CBS Sunday Morning had an interview about his book, Life in Football, or whatever it's called.
The Art of the Deal. It's similar to
My Life in Football, or it's
The Art on the Field. It's a play because he's very good friends with our current president. So
he wrote a book.
It's tied into the president's book, The Art of the Deal.
He wrote a book, and then she's going to all the interviews, and he wears the ratty sweatshirt that he has with a hole in it, and he thinks that's clever. And so the interviewer says, so how did you meet your girlfriend? And off camera, here, we're not talking about that. And so it shuts the interview down.
Yeah.
It's an awkward situation. The age gap is 50 years. You know, I don't know if there's been a lot of commentary on that. Like, she's an adult. I think that people that are adults get to make their own choices. It is a big age gap.
What do you think's going on there?
I think that it works for people. Do stuff for a reason. In some way, shape, or form, it works for them. He probably enjoys having a younger person around. I don't want to speak for them. I don't know. Like people do stuff for a reason, and he's a very famous guy, and he's made a lot of money. He doesn't seem to spend a lot of it. I know he has a boat, but like you don't see Bill, buying mansions and everything else. He has a fishing boat. It's not like a yacht or anything. I've seen that on some stuff. So he's probably pretty well off. He's got a lot of fame. What do you think's going on?
Last question. It's kind of interesting because when he didn't make it in the NFL, he started showing up on the Pat McAfee show.
His own podcast.
And lots of podcasts. And he showed another side of himself. And that side you often see when he does like inside NFL studios and all that, because he is the valedictorian of football when it comes to telling stories. And he could sit there sometimes when they're sitting around the table with Collinsworth, or he's sitting there with Brady, and he remembers games that he wasn't even playing in, and he remembers exact plays and who rolled out where. And
I was like, when he would go, Ocho Cinco, what do you do on this route? Like, it was great. Breaking down film.
No, I love that Bill Belichick.
I'm glad you do.
But I also love this Bill Belichick. I missed him, so I'm glad he's back. More in a minute. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Don't forget, we are doing sit-downs right now. In fact, Ron and I are sitting down with each other doing this podcast. And this is kind of what we do when we sit down with you. It's about 45 minutes. We jump on a Zoom call. We find out if we're going to be good partners when it comes to real estate. And if we can't help you, we'll find someone who can. And sometimes it's not time. Sometimes the sit-downs, we say, hey, let's take a moment and revisit this 6 months from now or a year from now. We're sitting down with a lot of people in the spring and summer of 2025 whose homes will be selling in 2026.
Yeah, and that lead time actually is beneficial to everybody because there's going to be a lot of moving parts in a transaction, and getting your home ready to sell can take a while. So I never frown upon that. Like looking towards 2026 right now, it's a smart move. So let's sit down and talk about your real estate journey.
Yeah, ron.sitdown.com if you need us, and we'll meet you wherever you're at on that real estate journey. Don't forget, we sell the sound, you guys. Before we get out of here, greatest American movies. Steven Spielberg was asked this, and he said, what?
Well, I believe it was an induction of some kind, a Lifetime Achievement Award or a Hollywood Walk of Fame, because some people are like, dude, it's probably one of your movies. Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Schindler's List. Like, of course, the movies that he has done have been gigantic box office.
You think about actually the TV series that has been a part as well.
Especially phenomenal. So he said, nope, I got to tell you, the greatest American movie is The Godfather. And then the Godfather trilogy is the greatest trilogy of all time, because he, of course, did some trilogies with some of his characters they developed. And he said in part because there was the old school. He came in to movie making when it was still the studio system. And so the way that would work, very overly simplified, is a studio could have a director and you were under contract and under their thumb and basically beholden to the studio to do what they wanted when they wanted. And that was how it worked. You got told, this is the movie, this is the script, here's your star, go make this movie and turn it in on this time on budget. And it was Francis Coppola that came along for a guy that's Steven Spielberg's age in the early 70s and said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to make the movies that I want to make.
Yep.
And if that means that I'm outside of the studio system, I'm going to figure out how to raise the money. I'm going to take all the risk. I'm going to make the stories I want to make. And it was a revolution in terms of breaking through the popular culture. So you have this independent filmmaking movement. And Francis Ford Coppola was at the vanguard of that. So he acquires this book from Mario Puzo about the mafia in Sicily coming to America. And they say, we're going to make this into a movie. And so he goes out and he gets Marlon Brando, and he, who at the time was probably one of the biggest movie actors of all time. And he gets James Caan, and he gets Pacino, and he gets all of these guys that are named guys. And he says, we're making this independent.
Yep.
This is going to be, and the script was very good. Anyways, they make the movie, and it shatters the studio system in a way, because then all of the young and upcoming filmmakers said, well, I want to do that. Like, I don't, and Steven Spielberg talks about it in this. He goes, yes, it's a great movie, but what it means to American filmmaking is what makes it more great.
Yeah.
Because now he's like, I never would have done what I did because I didn't have that gear that Francis had. And Francis has kept that spirit his entire life. And you even look to when he does Godfather, and then of course Godfather 2, which many people say is even better than Godfather 1. Then he goes, I will make, and I don't remember if it was 2 or 3, but he's like, I'll make the rest of the Godfather trilogy if you let me make The Conversation. And The Conversation, if you haven't watched that, nominated for Academy Award, Gene Hackman is in it. It's definitely not Godfathers, and that is an incredible piece of work of independent filmmaking, and it's a remarkable movie. And so that's how Coppola began to create a new lane for the people that were in his class, which is including Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I listened to Matt Damon talk about making movies the other day, and he said it's very difficult now to make the movies that they want to make because in their back pocket they always had the DVD. So
Right.
they knew if they took it to the big screen and they didn't make it on the big screen, they always had the DVD sales that would save them, and then that's where they would make money on the movie. And they said that it's very difficult now with all the streaming services out there to know, because these streaming services don't want you to know how much money these movies are making. And Matt Damon's like, hey, if Ben Affleck and I are going to write this movie like they did with Nike, and we're going to make this movie and have our own production company and all that, we knew how many DVDs we're selling. We need to know how many streams, because that's how we're getting paid.
Right.
We're no longer getting paid on the front side of the movie. We're getting paid on the back side. But we don't know what the backside is because the streaming services won't be honest with us.
Yeah, and he's making the rounds right now, and also Ben Affleck's making the rounds for The Accountant too, and they've been doing some really interesting interviews.
They're very smart when it comes to movies.
Very smart.
I love listening to both of them.
Yeah, and so I would have to agree in terms of importance, along with the quality of the movie. Steven Spielberg pointing to that, because then you have Taxi Driver and all the Raging Bull, all the Scorsese stuff going in that. I think Ridley Scott was part of that movement of like, we're just going to make the movies we want to make. And then the studios came back around then by the time you got into the 80s and said, okay, we're doing this differently. Actors can go work at a bunch of different studios. Directors can work all over Hollywood.
Would you, and it's okay to be wrong. Wouldn't you agree that maybe the greatest movie ever written, if we're going to do holidays, 1976, John Denver, Have a Very Kermit Christmas? Do you remember this with John Denver?
You're going to go down, Oh God. And
Very
Oh God.
phenomenal. A great movie. I love Oh God and Oh God 2. It was very good. And then what about Backdraft? It was either made by Ronnie Howard in 91, 93, or 97.
It's a good movie.
Sometime in the 90s. And Kurt Russell in that movie. And also Donald Sutherland
Like Donald Sutherland.
in that movie. And also one of the Baldwin brothers, Stephen Baldwin, in that movie on the back of the fire truck with the girl doing a little I love that scene. And I also love the scene that Baldwin is blaming Kurt Russell for being the arsonist. And if you've never, can you still do spoiler alerts if the movie was made in the 90s, or are you allowed to talk about it?
Sure.
Anyway, there's a point in the movie where they get in a fire, and Kurt Russell's brother is a probie. Their dad had died in a fire on the Chicago Fire Department. I just love the trucks. I grew up in Chicago. My dad was a firefighter. Like, I just love seeing all that.
It's okay to have your favorite movie. That's different than the greatest movie.
You're okay to be wrong. Anyway, the Ronnie Howard movie, Backdraft, where Kurt Russell, and he's hanging from a ceiling, and he grabs onto his brother, and he says, "You go!" What's he say?
You go, I
Do your
go.
part.
I'm not doing my part. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever.
Let me do
You go, I go.
You go!
We go.
You said I go.
Is it we go or I go?
Go. It's not if you go, I go. If you
Who says? He says the whole
knew we should have
lines.
practiced for
It's not two different lines. It's the same line. But like the guy hanging doesn't say we go.
What are you going to
The
do?
guy from the top says we go.
Live tape podcast, and now we can't do this over. So I should have fed the line better, so I blame that on myself. Hey, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Ron and Don Show. Boy, did you waste some time. If you need us, we sell the sound. How can people reach out?
Yeah, you go to ronanddon.com. You can also email me directly, ron@ronanddon.com, if you want one of our buyers' playbooks or sellers' playbook. Let's sit down and start your real estate journey, whether you're buying, selling, or investing.
Yeah. Anyway, you go. We go! Thank you, Matt Wesson, who's here putting the show together today. And our thanks to Grace Wesson for helping out today as well. Do you have anyone to thank?
Me? Because
Okay.
I helped out a lot.
Of course. All right. Head up, shoulders back. We'll see you next time. Yeah! Listen to Ron and Don Show only on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Ron and Don Show. Now keep your head up and your shoulders back and find some black belt courage.